Hi everyone, my name is Teacher Manette from chrisamericos.com, where we help you to level up and show the world the best version of yourself. Ever had that embarrassing moment when you mispronounce an English word? Worry not, for today we are diving deep into the world of English pronunciation. By the end, you will be sounding like a pro. First up, the silent E. It's sneaky, it's quiet, but it has purpose. While it is silent in pronunciation, it often changes the sound of the vowel before it. For example, rat becomes rate. Words have a silent E for several reasons. In most cases, the silent E changes the first vowel sound of a word. Let's take a look at some silent E words to see how their pronunciation changes when you take off that final E. The silent E is powerful enough to turn do into do and at into ate. There are many more three-letter words that need a silent E to ensure that they are pronounced correctly. Let's have a look. Ace, age, buy, I, eve, ice, and so on. There are many four-letter words that end in silent E. Most of them are CVC words that, when combined with a silent E, become different words with different pronunciations. For example, bake, bear, cove, dive, dine, gate, hate, and more. Next up, we have five-letter words that end in silent E. Many of these words include consonant blends, such as angle and spoke, and vowel teams such as biome and cause. Let's look at some more examples. Above, blade, drive, goose, stove, and many more. Wrapping up with silent E, we end off by looking at long words that end with silent E. Once you start looking for words with silent E, you will find them everywhere. For example, calculate, clothe, conceive, courage, expense, extreme, fleece, grease, handle, and so on. These longer words all have a silent E that changes the way you'd pronounce them. The silent E might not make a sound, but it serves a specific purpose. A silent E at the end of a word changes its pronunciation in the following ways. Number 1. The silent E can make a short vowel before it into a long vowel. For example, in the words code and wine, the E prevents them from being cod and win. The E allows them to make the long sound and say their names. This is also why the silent E is known as the bossy E. Number 2. The silent E can also make certain harsher sounding vowels sound softer. For example, in the words grace and age, we do not get the harsh sound of the C and the G as you would in the words cat and good. However, there are a few instances where a silent E doesn't affect the way you say a word at all. If you've ever been confused about a mystery E at the end of a word, it may have fallen into these situations. In words, every syllable needs to have a vowel in it. Without the silent E, words like handle would violate a basic rule of English grammar. English words don't typically end in V, so words like perceive and above have an E that don't affect their pronunciation at all. This rule applies to words that end in U as well, such as Q and true. The silent E also prevents singular words from looking like plural words. Look at the word moose. If there were no E there, you would just have moose, which looks like the plural form of moo. Moving on to the GH mystery. The notorious GH. This DO can sound like F, G, and sometimes nothing at all. In laugh, it's an F, though it's silent. English, you are such a mysterious beast. The GH rule in English spelling has three main pronunciations. Number one, the GH is silent in many words such as daughter, night, and right. Number two, the GH is pronounced as F in some words such as enough, cough, and laugh. The GH is pronounced as G in a few words such as ghost, ghastly, and ghetto. Let's look at 3 tips that should help you perfect your pronunciation of GH. Number 1. Break GH down into sounds. Say it out loud and exaggerate the sounds until you can consistently produce them. Number 2. Record yourself saying GH in full sentences. Then watch yourself and listen. You will be able to mark your mistakes quite easily. And number 3. Focus on one accent. Mixing multiple accents can really get confusing, especially for beginners. So, pick one accent and stick with it. Next up, we have stressed and unstressed syllables. English is a rhythmic language. Some syllables shout out loud, while others whisper. Understanding this dance between stressed and unstressed syllables is key to sounding natural. A stressed syllable is the part of the word that you say with greater emphasis than the rest of the syllables. Alternatively, an unstressed syllable is the part of the word that you say with less emphasis than the rest of the syllables. You're probably wondering how stressed and unstressed syllables are related to English intonation. Though emphasis and pitch are different, they are still connected. How we stress certain syllables or words changes the pitch. Similarly, the pitch that we use in certain contexts can also affect which syllables get stressed. Let's look at some rules for stressed and unstressed syllables. Figuring out which syllables to stress in English is not always easy. However, there are a few rules that can help. Number 1. If the word is a 2-syllable noun or an adjective, the stress usually falls on the first syllable. For example, pizza, lazy, bottle, and quiet. Number 2. If a word ends in al, cy, ty, phy, or gy, the stress falls on the third from last syllable. For example, logical and photography. Number 3. If a word ends in ic, sion, or tion, the stress usually falls on the next to last syllable. For example, attraction, fusion, and basic. Number 4. If a word is a 2-syllable verb or preposition, the stress usually falls on the second syllable. For example, beside, adapt, and receive. Naturally, these words don't cover every word in the English language, not even close. And most of these rules have exceptions. With many words, you will simply have to memorize which syllables are stressed and unstressed. Meet Mr. R. In American English, he rolls with a strong r, like in car. But in British, he is more reserved, often soft or silent. Know your audience and adjust your R accordingly. The thrilled R is pronounced by curling the tip of the tongue back and vibrating it against the roof of the mouth. This is the most common pronunciation of the R sound in English. Examples of words with a thrilled R include run, red, car, girl, and party. The uvular R is pronounced by raising the back of the tongue to the soft palate. This is the back of the roof of the mouth. This is the less common pronunciation of the R sound in English. Examples of words with a uvular R include hurry, very, and carving. Our lovely language is spoken worldwide. and sometimes even native speakers debate the right pronunciation. Whether you say data as data or data, remember, context and culture matters. There are many words in English that have multiple pronunciations. This can be due to a number of factors, including different dialects of English. For example, the word water is pronounced with a short A in American English and a long A in British English. Different historical pronunciations. For example, the word herb was pronounced with a silent H in the past, but is now commonly pronounced with a pronounced H. Different spelling conventions. For example, the word color is spelled with a U in British English and without a U in American English. Different regional preferences. For example, the word caramel is pronounced with a short A in some regions and with a long A in other regions. Ready for some rapid-fire fun facts? Modern English pronunciation rules, they have evolved. Old English didn't even have a J or a V sound. There are over 160 English dialects worldwide, each with its own unique pronunciation quirks. Over 1 billion people speak English globally, but 2/3 are non-native speakers, bringing diverse pronunciation flavors. English borrows from over 350 languages. This mix results in its unpredictable pronunciation pattern. Language is a journey, and every step makes you smarter, bolder, and more connected. You've just unlocked a new level in your English mastery. If you want to use English to take your career to the next level, then click on the link under this video to join our Level Up training. And if you want speaking practice with native speakers all day, every day, then watch our free 16-minute lesson about how you can understand what I am saying but still can't speak. Keep practicing, keep exploring, and remember, it's not about perfection, it's about connection. Until next time, happy pronouncing.